Welcome to the Self-Publishing Corner. I'm your host, author Denise Bannerman, and I'm thrilled to bring you another insightful episode filled with tips and unique experiences for writers and authors. Today, we have the honor of speaking with Author DANI, a resilient voice emerging from Harlem, New York. DANI's life journey has been marked by profound challenges, including deeply traumatic childhood experiences and a decade-long struggle with addiction. Through unwavering faith and determination, she has transformed her pain into purpose. In her compelling memoir, Pretty Little Bastard Child, a memoir of the darkness that turned on God's light, DANI candidly shares her path from darkness to redemption. She is also the curator of the anthology Love Language of Grief, exploring the multifaceted nature of loss and healing. Join us as we delve into DANI's inspiring story of resilience, faith, and the transformative power of storytelling. Welcome, DANI.
Hi, how are you? Thank you for
I'm
having me. Really
good.
appreciate this opportunity.
We appreciate you for taking time out. You're a busy lady.
Whew. And we ain't gonna talk about the fact that I just finished my next book, which will be out March 1st, titled
Oh,
Echoes of Affection, Tales of Human Connection.
oh
It's
my
another
goodness
anthology.
gracious.
So yeah, oh my God. Busy and booked is good though.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. All my listeners, writers, and authors will agree. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, let's jump right in with your transformational memoir trilogy, Pretty Little Bastard Child. How long did that take you to complete?
Well, believe it or not, because of the nature of the book, and the darkness that surrounded the story. Um, of course, when we're survivors of any type of trauma, especially childhood trauma, we sometimes feel like we're by ourselves in that, or nobody will understand, or at this point in my life, who will believe me, or what will they say, or what will they think?
Hmm.
And so I say all of that to share that the first 10 pages I wrote back in 2005.
And
And
five.
then, yeah, 2005, like 18 years ago, 19 years ago.
Hmm.
And I just, life started life in. And then again, that self doubt and that negative talk that we sometimes give ourselves to talk ourselves out of good things. Um, because, who's they? That's number one. But I talked myself out of it at that
Yes.
point, and then life started life, and then finally life to the point where I was like sitting still for like
Yes.
literally 6 months. I had to learn how to walk all over again. And during that time, I found my manuscript because I was like, God, look, I can't take much more of this. What am I supposed to do? Where am I supposed to,
Hmm.
how am I supposed to come back from this?
Yeah.
And the manuscript fell out of a box. And I had
Ah,
recently moved, and this box had nothing to do with writing or any type of material for writing.
yeah.
And I looked up in the sky and I just started boohooing. And within 6 months, packing and then moving, I found this thing twice.
Oh
And
my
at
goodness.
this time, I had nothing else to do but to sit still. I couldn't walk. I couldn't work. I had to learn how to
Hmm.
walk over. I had major spinal surgery. So during that time, Pretty Little Bastard Child was penned, but it took 18 years.
Oh my goodness gracious. And that process, I'm sure, has shaped you as a person as far as building you up. That
Absolutely.
takes a lot of determination to
Absolutely.
um to do that. I think,
Mhm.
God was trying to tell you something. He's like, here, I'm trying to give it to you here. That's why it kept
Talk about it.
falling out the box.
Period. Period. And I didn't get the message until I got the message.
Yes,
And when I
yes,
got it, it has taken on its own little world and this little light of mine. I'm gonna let it shine. So
yes. Well, you share some deeply personal experiences with trauma and healing. What do you have a message that you hope readers would walk away with from this journey?
Absolutely. And I'll sum it up to a phrase that I use that I've actually coined on t-shirts. I have Pretty Little Bastard Child t-shirts, right?
Mm,
And on the back of the t-shirt, and most of the things that I'll post or most of the, interviews or whatever that I
mm,
do, I always leave off with your trauma's not your fault, but your
mm,
healing is your responsibility. And if nothing else, if I could get one person who's about to put their kid out in the street because of, their lifestyle, or because they don't understand them, or because they don't want to take the time to communicate with them, or yeah, this is my child, but I'm just sick of them. And maybe there's a reason why you're sick of them, that they haven't come to you
yes,
and shared with you. So maybe you need to pry deeper, but pry in an empathetic way, pry in a way
yes,
where, no, I'm not asking parents to be their kids' friends, because I am truly an advocate against that. This is your
yes,
child. This is not your friend. And that's why all these
yes,
kids is running around here thinking they grown and disrespecting other adults because you busy, instead of parenting, being their friend. I'm not
yes.
asking you to be their friend. I'm asking you to be their confidant. I'm asking you
Mhm.
to try to understand more so than be understood, because your kid could be going through some stuff that they're
Yes.
scared to talk to you about. And if Pretty Little Bastard Child could keep one family from
Yeah.
putting their kid out to the street, which is going to give them even more of a problem, then
Mhm.
my job is done. And that's what I'm trying to do with this book.
Yes. Yeah, that is a very powerful message. Your circumstances or how you grew up, what you went through as a child doesn't have to define the rest of your life.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. In your book, you described losing your drug addiction as a grieving process,
Oh, yeah.
calling it your friend, lover, and child. That is a deep perspective.
Yeah.
How did that impact your healing and recovery?
Well, first I had to learn that I had to, first of all, I had to make an admission that I was an addict, and I was an active drug addict.
Yes.
Life's lessons, life's teachings, life's traumas, life's tribulations took me to that place where my friend became my drugs.
Mm,
And from that point forward, there was nothing more important than buying, using, and finding ways and means to get more. And that's coming from being a big time drug dealer to a drug user. And then
mm,
after that, it was all off to the races. And there was nothing more important to me than escaping my reality. And
yes.
the quickest way to do that was to use and to stay as high as I could for as long as I could. So if you can imagine, okay, some people are addicted to food. Some people are morbidly obese because they go to sleep, they breathe, they eat, sleep, pee and poop food. That's what they think about all day. Oh my God.
Right.
Ooh, that cake I saw in the wind. Ooh, some people are gamblers. They
Yes.
gamble. Some people, they have other addictions.
Yes.
And the only way that you'll understand me grieving my addiction is to have had an addiction to something that you couldn't
Right.
put down. Could be a person. It could be,
Yes, I do
the good
believe
sex. It could
everyone
be any of
knows.
that.
Sure. Yeah,
But
everyone's been
yeah,
addicted to something.
yeah. But until you put a name to it, instead of
Yes.
saying, well, we all got to eat, girl. Some people could be alcoholics, like, oh, it's 5 o'clock somewhere at 10 a.m. in the morning, and a business brunch. Like, come on. If it's something that you cannot put
Yeah.
down once you pick up, you're addicted to it.
Yes.
But until you make the admission that I have a problem, maybe I need some help with this, you can't
Yes.
you can't heal from it. It's just like
Yeah.
any other disease. You need treatment. You need, to admit I'm sick, and I have to get some help. And then at that
Yes.
point, the realization comes like, wow. It was some days that I didn't wash my behind because I was busy chasing drugs all day.
Yeah.
And then days would pile up on each other where, when's the last time I took a shower? I haven't,
Right.
because I was,
Yes.
out there running and chasing drugs. So yeah,
Yeah.
it had become my everything.
And that even though I mean that's a powerful perspective and how you were living, but just that recognition is what helped with the healing. Like,
Hmm.
hey, this is a problem. Um, and I think that's the way it is for every addiction, like you said, is just recognizing it and admitting it first. And it's not always somebody else's fault,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You have
absolutely.
not only overcome addiction, but you are giving back as a substance abuse counselor and mental health
Hmm.
counselor.
Hmm.
I can imagine the support that you're giving others just from talking to you for this brief amount of time.
Yeah.
How does that
I'm no longer
influence?
Well, I'm no longer in the field. Let me just correct you there.
Sure.
I am a former substance abuse and
Yes.
mental health counselor.
Yes.
And
Yes.
and absolutely it helped me by helping
Yes.
other people, but it
Yeah.
became overwhelming. And at a certain point I had a nervous breakdown. I was just taking on
Yes.
too much
I
stuff.
can
And
imagine because
yeah,
you're
yeah.
reliving it
Yes, yes. It's
all the
called
time.
countertransference, and you get it from your clients.
Yes.
And at a certain point, it was like, I was trying to live my life. I was recording on the weekends. I was
Yeah.
performing. I was doing shows. I was a recording artist at the time. Was working 80 something hours a week, two different jobs. I was
Oh
working for
my
Association of
goodness.
Retarded Citizens at night. I was working at a women's prison during the day.
Oh my
And
goodness.
yeah, then I might get on a plane or get in the car and drive to 2 or 3 shows over the weekend and start right back over Sunday night. And one day I just woke up and I was cowering in a corner and just snap, crackled, and popped.
Yeah.
And yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. That sounds overwhelming.
Mhm.
It was a
Yeah.
good thing that you were trying to do,
Mhm.
but you have to heal first, right?
Well, not even just the healing
And
part. I was no longer taking care of my physical health either. I was
yes.
gaining weight, I was
Yeah.
I was I was in pain every day. I worked in the
Yes.
city, and at a certain point my body just said, "No, no, no, you can go, but I ain't going with you."
Yeah.
And shortly
And
after
that's a
the
great lesson for all of
yeah,
us. We're
you gotta
all
take care of you.
doing
Yeah.
so much.
Mhm.
Um, I can totally relate because in 2019, my business, my full time business, um, it was amazing. I had so much work. I was just I couldn't even handle it, and I was
Mhm.
really delegating. I was thought I was doing well, but then I woke up one morning and I couldn't speak. I couldn't
Mm.
walk. I had to go to the emergency room. I had had a stroke,
Mhm. Mhm.
and they couldn't believe it. They were like, "You are too young. How did you have a stroke?" But it was the stress, from family stress to relationship stress to work stress, working 16 hours a day. Um, and so your story is a powerful reminder that we are not invincible.
Mhm.
We
Mhm.
have to take care of our mental and physical health. And that's
Absolutely.
why the buzzword nowadays, work life balance, that's why that's so important. You have to know how
Mhm.
to say no and set
Mhm.
boundaries.
Mhm. I take it one step further. It's not even work-life balance. It's life-work balance. And most
Yes.
jobs stay work-life balance, but you know what? Your job will be there. You be in the ground, and before they can write your obituary, they'll be done post your position for somebody else. So now I revolve my work around my life, whether I have
Yes.
paid days off or not. If I gotta go do it, or if it has to do with the business that
Yes.
I'm doing, I'm taking the time off. And if I
Yes.
gotta call out and take a mental health day, guess what I'm doing? I'm calling out
Yes.
and I'm taking a mental health
That's
day
right.
because
I
I've
love
been
that.
where The body just shut down, and the job was like, so can you tell us when do you think you gonna be back? Are you kidding me?
Yeah,
Okay. You know,
I
but
love that.
taught
Life,
me a lesson.
work. That is
Yeah,
absolutely the right order for that
right, right,
term. I
right.
love it. Well, your story speaks to the power of forgiveness.
Yes.
And I think we all know that sometimes we have to forgive people that aren't even sorry,
Hmm. Oh
which
yeah.
is really hard.
Yes.
How did forgiveness transform your life?
It freed me up from the slavery that I was in this 6 inches between my ears.
Mm,
Because this is the deal. Forgiveness is not to let that person off the hook. Forgiveness is not even for that other person. But let's take a scenario. My mother and my father were my first people that taught me to distrust people.
mm,
Uh, my mother and my father broke my heart worse than anybody in my life ever broke my heart. My mother and my father are both deceased,
mm.
right? So if I'm still running around holding on to that hurt that happened 50 something years ago, because I'm 60 going on 61, right? They're both been dead in their grave, and I'm still walking around bleeding out on people that didn't cut me. How cool is that?
Yeah,
Because I refuse to forgive. Oh, I'm gonna forgive it, but I'll never forget it. Okay, granted, you have scars, so you're not gonna forget it,
right.
right? Whether they're physical scars or mental scars, you're not gonna forget it. But if you don't forgive, and forgiving simply means I'm accepting the fact that it happened.
Yes,
Okay, I'm still here. Let me see. I survived it. I think I'm pretty okay. All right, let me live before I die, because they are dead and gone. And I'm still holding on to resentments. I'm still holding on to the anger.
yeah,
I'm still waiting. Every relationship that becomes intimate in my life, whether it's friendships, whether it's, relationships, whether it's, spouse, whatever the case may be, I'm holding on to something that they did, that I'm bringing that baggage into whatever relationship feels like it might get close. So who am I harming? Who am I hurting? I'm
yes.
hurting me, and writing a letter to my mom and letting her know that even thus I still love you. Thank you for life. And my father,
Yes. Yes.
before he passed away, I was able to, for one day, be daddy's little girl. And that's
Yeah,
all I wanted to do all my
right,
life. And at 40 years old, right before he passed away,
right.
I was able to be daddy's little girl for a couple of
Mm,
hours.
that's beautiful. And would you have any advice for people struggling with holding, forgiving themselves? I'll just say it like that.
Hmm. Well, one of the things in forgiveness is, a lot of times we've already forgiven the person, but we didn't forgive ourselves. And that's the thing. Part of every infraction to us is because some of it, and again, your trauma is not your fault. But at a
Right.
certain point, when you're still holding on to trauma, that is when it becomes your responsibility.
Yes.
Okay. So now you're grown, they're dead and gone, they're going on with their life, they still alcoholic, or they whatever, whatever, whatever.
Right.
And you're exhibiting this horrible behavior towards people who didn't even harm you, right?
Yes.
That makes you a horrible person. That doesn't make them the horrible person,
Right.
because nobody's going to stick around for you to even explain, well, I wouldn't be this mean, or I wouldn't do this, or I wouldn't
There
talk
you
to you like
go.
that. Should that not have happened to me? People ain't going to hang around and take the abuse for you to even get to the point where you can explain that to them.
That's right.
So before you, before God closes these pretty rounds, if
Hmm.
he allowed me to go through it, there was a reason. Okay.
Hmm.
I'm accepting, yes, this happened, but I'm also accepting that I'm still here,
Right.
and I'm okay. And I want to be even better every day, right? I can't walk around here calling myself a Christian, or saying I believe in God, or saying that, you know,
Yes.
I'm trying to love thy brother like I want to love myself, but I ain't loving
Yes.
myself. Hmm, come
That's
on.
right.
Who does that hurt?
That's
It's
right.
got to be acceptance. Acceptance. Admission, acceptance, and awareness is the first thing
Yes.
that you can do. That's 85% towards taking action. Taking
Yes.
action is only the last 15, believe it or not.
Right. Yeah, it's so important to he said something else too that I thought about. It's so important that we heal ourselves before we move into any type of intimate relationship.
Mhm,
Um, it's funny that all over Instagram, I don't know if you've been seeing this, but all over Instagram, there's these videos about it's okay to be single,
mhm,
and take some time for yourself to do
mhm,
some
mhm,
self-reflection and healing. And I just I love those videos. It can be a
mhm,
choice, you know,
mhm.
that I
And it's true.
choose to
It is
take
so
time
true.
and heal.
It's true. I gave myself before I got married, before I met my partner, well,
Yes.
my spouse.
Yes.
Um, I had been single and celibate for almost
Yes.
3.5 years.
Mm-hmm.
And by
Yep.
choice, there was a
By
choice. I mean,
choice.
I look good. I had a couple of dollars in my pocket. I think I'm relationship
Right.
material. But
Right. Yep.
uh-uh, it was not time.
Was not time.
I had to work on some things. I had to
Yes.
get me together. I had to learn how to be okay with me, be by myself, take myself
Yes.
out, buy myself flowers. Just like
Thank
the
you.
little girl says, I can buy myself flowers,
That's right.
write my name in the sand. Right? I
Yes.
had to learn how to do that. Take a
That's
trip by
right.
myself, sit on the plane and hold my own hand. You know what I'm
Yes.
saying? Like, before you can enjoy someone else's company, how about learning how to enjoy your own
Your
company?
own company. Thank you.
But that only comes along with healing, though.
That's right.
You got to feel, then deal in order to heal. And,
Okay.
and and
Love
and
it.
without that process, you can't break it down at all without feel it. You have to. If you can't speak
That's
to
right.
your pain, you can't heal from your pain.
That's right. Oh my goodness. I'm getting goosies, like JLo says. Okay. Um, you talked about performing before,
Mhm,
and I just wanted to go back to that. So,
mhm.
because I know some listeners are like, wait, performing. What, can we go
Yeah,
back to that? So
yeah,
you do, okay, so you used to perform. I want you to talk about that, but you also now are doing these Instagram daily inspirational videos, which I
yes.
love, by the way.
Thank you.
So tell us about how you went from performing and what you were performing on stage
Mhm,
to these
mhm,
videos.
mhm. Well, the videos are to help people. It's called my daily checkup from the neck up, right?
Yes.
And it comes from a saying that, I'm old school. I just gave my age a little while ago and I'm proud of, that means I done lived through some things and I've been here for quite a while. So I done seen some things,
Yes.
right? But we had a saying that goes, you better check yourself before you wreck yourself and find yourself by yourself, right? Well, people don't say that anymore. But anyway, back in the day when I first got clean in the late 80s, I always wanted to be an entertainer. I always wanted to be a singer. So I pursued a singing career. As back in the day, I became an independent recording artist. I sold 10,000 copies of my
What
first CD.
genre again?
It was R&B jazz.
Okay.
R&B jazz fusion, and that's the performing I was doing. I did spoken word and R&B jazz. So I was,
Unbelievable.
yeah, yeah, I put
You
out a
are
couple of CDs and I had
definitely
fun.
a Renaissance woman.
I am. I am. I can say that, but everything that I've stepped my foot into, and when it wasn't fun anymore, I walked away and I recreated myself.
Yes. Yeah.
So once
What
all of the
what
other artists started getting the gist that independent was the way, why would they give me 5,000 for a show when they could give them
Yes.
another 10,000 and make
Right.
100,000?
Right.
So everybody, the industry started getting, just like with being a self-published author.
Yeah.
The industry is so saturated right now with just
Yes.
anybody that feels like they can write a pen, but it's like, you saying a whole bunch, but you ain't saying nothing. You
Yes.
talking a lot, or you writing a lot, but you ain't saying, or chat. Now listen, if you need chat GPT, knock yourself out. But
Yes.
I Chat GPT could not tell my story for me.
Correct.
Sorry.
That's right. There's no
Mm-mm,
real life in that. I'm sorry.
mm-mm.
I
And I
totally
get it,
agree.
do what you gotta do, but, I'm having fun. I'm spreading the message of joy, hope, healing, forgiveness,
Yes.
peace, and
Yes.
positivity. And while I'm doing that, I'm meeting new people like yourself. I'm networking with other women who,
Yes.
understand the journey, or who are at least getting something out of the journey. Would it be helpful if I became a millionaire from it? Absolutely. But you know what would be more helpful? When people inbox me and say, "Oh my God, Danny, I read your book. I identify, I'm going back to therapy next week." Or they inbox me
Now
and say, "You know
that
what?
is
Something
a win, right? That
something
is
that
a
you shared this
blessing.
morning on your
Yes.
live hit me in my gut, and I got to take a look at that."
Yes. Yep.
That's the win.
That is the win. Absolutely. How do you have a topic list or anything that you follow to do your daily
I don't.
inspirations? You
I
just wait
don't.
whatever hits you
When I
that
wake up in
morning?
the morning, I pray, I meditate before I even leave my house. I go
Amen.
walk my dog, and whatever God drops into my spirit before I clock in, or sometimes like today, on my day off, I I'll get up later than normal, and I'm like, "Hey, what am I going to talk about today?" And it could be like something that happened to me yesterday. Like, for instance, I think
Yeah.
yesterday or the day before yesterday, I shared about how somebody got hold of my credit card, or they
Right.
got my credit card number,
Yep.
and my bank called me. And I'm
Right.
like, okay. No, first they text me, and then they email me. And I'm like, oh, damn. Now, yeah, this is an inconvenience. I don't have a debit card right now. I'm waiting for it to come, but, it's a public service announcement now. Hey, listen, check
Yeah.
your accounts. Like, you might have a few hundred or a few $1,000s in there, and 5 or 6 little dollars might
Yes.
not be overwhelming. But if you don't recognize those charges, believe me, they're fishing to see if I don't get flagged on this 5, and then this 9, then this
Then they
12,
can
let
go
me go for the
further.
kill. So that's what they did. And it
Yeah.
was like 2 or 3 other
Yeah.
charges on there. Finally, when they tried to go for a 80 something dollar charge, there was
Yeah.
a charge on there, 2 charges on there that I didn't
See?
recognize. So it woke me up. So
It's funny. Back in the day when I had a very um, hair trigger, when I was young in my 20s, I had a temper. As I got older, that got better. And so now, uh, when something like that would have happened to me, I will stop and I will say, "Oh, you testing me, right?
mhm, 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 mhm.
You want to see how I'm going to handle it."
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, that's look,
So
God got jokes. God got, just like we got
he
jokes,
do,
God got jokes too. God said,
he
okay, well, let me
do.
let me throw this at you and see what you're gonna do with this. Because believe me, for
Yeah,
the last couple of days, I have not had access to a debit card. And it's
right,
like I am pissed off. And it's but I'm not pissed off. I'm like, okay, lesson
right.
learned.
That's
This is
right.
not the first time it's happened either. So this time, um, I will be more cognizant,
Yes.
like a
There
few
you
days
go.
a week, maybe even I'll go down the list to
Yes.
make sure before they get to that point where now I got to shut down my card,
Yes. So
so, but,
true. This is a
it's,
terrible day and age with hackers. It
oh, well,
really is.
because everything is connected to everything. Your toe bone
Yes.
connected to your neck bone, like for real, for
Yes.
real. Like,
No, it's
back in the
true.
day, that little song, my hip bone
It's
connected to my.
true.
It's true. This is connected to that. And do you have a debit card? And what's your
Yes.
address? And oh, and putting your date of birth. And oh, no, 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 and blah, blah, blah. And all of it's like this. It's all intertwined,
That's
right?
right.
So eventually, if they got one thing, they're gonna fish until they the same way we sitting here doing this interview.
Yes.
Hackers are down in a room in front of a computer for
Yeah.
6, 7, 8 hours doing their job. That is
Yep.
their job, to
That's
hack
right.
your systems.
That's right. It's so funny because, and we'll go to the next question in a minute. Yesterday, I was on the news, I was watching the news, and it said, don't throw away your smart TVs without doing this one step. And they were saying that you need to go into settings
And
and
erase your
reset it back
information.
to factory default. Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
People, the hackers are going into these thrown out TVs
Yeah.
and stealing all of
All
your
your information.
downloaded
Yep.
information,
Yep.
any audio clips that
Yep.
are stored in that little computer in the TV. And
Yep.
then, if you have streaming services and your credit
Yeah.
card is attached to them,
Bam.
they
There
can
you go.
steal it. Yeah. Unbelievable, this world we live in
Yeah.
nowadays.
And it's legal. It's legal.
Yeah. Yeah.
You got to give them your information. There's
Yeah.
a monopoly on it. You cannot
Yeah.
not have them
Yeah.
have your information. I swear now I understand why all these old people don't do it. They don't get on the computer. They don't have no computer.
That's
They
right.
don't want no smartphones. They keep their little flip phone
You're
and they
right.
don't give a damn because they don't understand it and they don't want to be bothered with it. And
That's
then they hear
right.
stuff like this and it scares the bejesus
You're
out of
right.
them. And I get it. I
You're
want to go
right.
back to where when the phone was busy, you just had to wait till I get off the phone.
Yep. No, you're absolutely right. They ain't wrong. Well, we talked a lot about God and faith, and it plays a strong role in your story. Can you share how your spiritual journey has guided you through, moments of darkness and shaped your purpose as a messenger of healing?
Yes. Well, when I was a kid, I wasn't, raised in a religious household.
Okay.
Um, I wasn't made to go to church. I
Okay.
mean, my mother tried. My mother was raised Catholic. She went to Catholic school, and in the beginning, she'd give us a couple of dollars, go around the corner to church, da da da, Hail Mary, kneel, stand, bow, sit, kneel, stand, bow, sit. 45 minutes, we were out of there, right? Sometimes I didn't even go into church. We went and got loose cigarettes from the store, or whatever, and went and got our candy, and we hung out. And then when church was supposed to be
Loose
over,
cigarettes.
yeah, child. Woo. But anyway, because of the things that were occurring in my life,
Mhm.
because of the trauma that was going on, the dysfunction that was going on, though I didn't know God, I knew that something wasn't right. I knew that there was a void. I knew that along the line, there was always something or someone placed in my life to make me hold on just another day, or, don't take your life today, or, you know, um, you can't give up now. Every time I got right before the finish line of anything, I quit, when I was a kid, because the pain would come back, and then the self-talk, the negative self-talk.
Yes.
And at a certain point in my life, again, when I got clean, I realized, okay, I'm clean, but now I need something. And I never forget a good friend of mine. She was my sponsor at the time in the fellowship that I was in. And she said, when you find God, you'll find it all. I'm like, oh, whatever, religious, whatever. Whatever. And she would always say it, I love you and you're growing and I like what you're doing, but when you find God, you'll find it all. And I think back in 1998, I went and I found the first church that I went to that spoke to my spirit.
Yeah.
And after the church, they said, "Is anybody who wants to, give themselves to the Lord," and blah, 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 blah. And I walked up to the front and I said, I don't know about this church thing, but I know right now I need help, and I need a deeper conscious contact with a God that I understand.
Uh-huh.
And from 1998 up until now, my focus on has been on not being perfect. Because
Yes.
I think for most of my life, I was trying to live up to my mother's standards of being perfect. But when I found God, I realized there are no perfect beings.
Correct. We are sinners.
There are no perfect beings. And the one perfect being though he walks with all of us, and though he walks in all of us, it ain't us. So I have not done anything that grand, and I don't care how big up the Pope, the Cardinal. I don't give a rat's behind.
Mhm.
You are not greater than anybody else that walks here and that bleeds
Correct.
their blood. So who are you to sit high and look low? You're not. You're not. And from that point forward, my quest became to stop. Yes, I can strive for perfection in things that I do, but I'm not
Right.
perfect and I'm always going to fall short. I'm always going to be fallible. I'm always going to make
Yes.
a mistake, sometimes a bigger mistake than others, but
Sure.
I'm never, ever going to be better than anybody. Can I
That's
do things better than some people? Absolutely. But I am just the same as you, and you are just the same as me.
that's
And
right.
once I learned that,
Yes.
my life became a very spiritually driven life.
Yes.
Um, Not religious, because religious zeal sometimes comes off like very judgmental, and a lot of people sit in the pulpit and they judge you,
Yes.
but they doing more stuff than you could ever even imagine doing from that
Yes.
pulpit. But my life became very spiritually driven, more godlike, more caring, more empathetic. I was able
Yes.
to show compassion. I was
Yes.
able to serve, and that's what a
Yes.
good leader does. A good
There you
leader
go. Acts of service.
serves. So,
That's right.
yeah.
That's beautiful. So let's talk a little bit about for our writers and authors, your journey as a self-published author. So you used platforms like Ex Libris and Lulu.
Mhm.
Do you have
Mhm.
any advice for aspiring self-published
Mhm.
authors about overcoming challenges and building their platform like you have?
Mhm. Mhm. Well, first of all, write the book. Stop playing. That's number one. And I'm gonna keep it straight up forward with you. You don't have to take 18 years like I took. You know what I'm saying? If this is something that's on your heart, your voice and your words have power. And there's somebody out there that's waiting to hear your words, specifically your words. So write the book. That's number one. Stop
Mm,
lily lallying, stop playing around, stop
yeah.
procrastinating. Life is too short. If you have something on your heart that you know has to be out there and you want to put it into words, write the book. That's number one. In writing the book, you can start doing some research. Google, how do I self publish? You see somebody you know who has a book. Listen, don't hate on them because their book is selling and you ain't even wrote the book yet. Call them. Right. Hey, cousin so and so, listen, I know I ain't think you was going to be able to do it, but look, I need some help. How did you get X, Y, and Z? Or where did you go? Blah, 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 blah. And then do research on different companies because Exlibris is totally different than Lulu, and I didn't know about Lulu until after I went into Exlibris. I'm contractually bound with Exlibris right now for book two of
Right.
Pretty Little Bastard Child because they've already got my money, and after 90 days, I can't get my money back.
Right.
But I wish I would have known about Lulu before then.
Yeah.
You know, do your research with these companies before you say yes to the dress. Because though you're still the
Yes.
author, the copyright still belongs to you, the ISBN number still belongs to you. There are some things that you cannot do when someone publishes your book. So,
Yes.
just do your research. First of all, write your book. Second of all, step out on faith. There is nothing that you could say that somebody hasn't said in book or without a book.
Yes.
But if it's something that's on your heart, you have to get it to paper. However you write it. I'm still old school. I write it down. I write it with a pen and paper.
Right.
Then I
A lot
text
of
it
people do.
into, yeah,
I
I
know
text
there's
it in, yeah.
writers that follow Bannerman Books and
Mhm.
they show pictures of their old school typewriters. And
Mhm.
that's how they
Mhm.
do it.
That's how it
That's
flows
how
for me.
they write their stuff. I mean,
Yeah.
it's everyone has their own individual
Yeah,
process.
process,
So
yeah,
I
and,
think that your advice is excellent, and the self-publishing corner, of course, my podcast.
mhm,
I'm always doing little tips,
mhm,
things that worked and things that failed,
mhm,
and also
mhm.
things that to watch out for.
Absolutely.
So
I'm
I
telling
did a
you that
whole
it's
episode on
saturated.
how I got my money stolen the first time I
Mhm.
published my first book, because I didn't know,
Mhm.
and I thought you had
Mhm.
to pay the company, and I lost thousands of dollars. And
Yeah,
now,
yeah.
I do it myself through Ingram Spark,
Mhm.
and I use a site called Publish Drive
Mhm.
for all my ebooks, and
Mhm.
it's free. So,
Mhm.
um,
Yeah.
okay, so you have some continued success with Pretty Little Bastard Child. Tell me a little bit more about that. You've got some people looking at your stuff.
Yeah, I do. I am in the process, God willing, and the creek don't rise. I'm in the process of turning this little light of mine into a TV series. So
Oh my goodness!
yes, yes. So I will be
Wow.
finished with volume 2, which is
Yes.
entitled Searching,
Okay.
PLBC 2.
Okay.
And PLBC is just Pretty Little Bastard Child 2,
Yeah.
which is the searching. And that is the second phase of my traumatic life. And all of it is going to be included in the series because we're getting ready to get picked up and start filming and doing
Oh my
casting
goodness
call
gracious!
and all of that stuff. So,
Wow.
God has
Um.
definitely been good to me. So,
Okay. Yeah. This is good stuff, guys. Tuning in with Danny, author Danny, author of Pretty Little Bastard Child. Through your counseling videos and writing, you help people free themselves.
yes,
What inspires and motivates you to keep sharing your message?
where I've come from. Um, Am I always on? No. No. I mean,
Yeah.
every day I muster up energy, even days. But see, the beauty is that I've learned that truth speaks to power. On days when I ain't feeling it, I've never ran from the fact that I have my own emotional issues and I had substance abuse issues. That is my story. That's part of my story. There's no way that I could have gone through the dysfunction and all the rest of the isms and ictions that I went through as a kid and not have
Yeah.
something still lingering. However, the beauty about inspiration comes from looking at my dog. Inspiration comes from watching the sunset. Inspiration comes from, you know, wow, I like seltzer water and I like, flavored seltzers, right? And sometimes I look at the effervescence from the bubbles that come up and I'm like, wow, that's peace, that's joy. That's, and it doesn't take a whole lot to keep me inspired. Why? Because innately, as kids, before the innocence is taken, we dream. We dream big. We like things. We go
We
through make
do.
believe. We like unicorns. We like pretty little
We make
horses and
pictures out
we
of, we
make
see
pictures.
pictures in the
Right,
clouds.
right, right, right. So check it out. What happened to that little kid?
Yeah. Yeah.
Sometimes I have to dig deep down and say, but the people, and it doesn't, and I don't do this for views. I don't do this for likes. And that's the thing. I get on because I probably don't have as many followers as you. I mean, to be quite honest with you, I don't have a lot of followers, but I know a gazillion, trillion, million people,
Yeah. It doesn't
and I
even matter
do.
to me.
I,
I have no
right.
idea.
Listen, I do this because I know somebody's gonna get touched by it. That's why I try to
There you
preach
go.
positivity. And B, usually after I've given of myself, I feel better. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? I don't care too much about what people say. I mean, come on, I'm a black lesbian woman. I've been out since I was 13. Do you think
Right.
I really give a damn about last
Right.
time I tried to pay my bills by what you thought of me, my landlord looked at
Right.
me like I had 4 heads, like, excuse me, Miss Matthews?
Yeah. Likes and followers don't pay bills.
Right, so but I know it only takes out of 50,000 no's, you're gonna get one yes, and one yes
Yeah.
is gonna give you a check.
Yeah.
One yes is gonna say, "Hey, look, I know somebody who you need to talk to." One yes is gonna say, "Wow, you've come a long way, baby, to get to where you got
Right.
and I like your message. So, but the biggest yes for me is waking up every morning and God saying, "Aren't you glad you ain't dope sick today? Aren't you glad you ain't out there selling yourself to have just a place to sleep and a shower tonight?
Yes.
Ain't you out there glad you ain't knocking some little old lady in the head to steal their pocketbook to go get one more?"
Yeah.
That's inspiration enough. Ain't you glad you ain't in that abandoned building watching the rats come get the crack off the
Oh,
floor? And yeah, right. All of
you
that.
have
That
you have you have just overcome so much.
yeah, yeah,
Um, and I'm going to
yeah.
share a little secret with my viewers, which it's not really a secret if you've read Black Child to Black Woman. But I had three brothers, and I say HAD because they are all passed on from drugs. And so I've seen everything you've described my entire life.
Right.
And they tried off and on to get help. My parents would put them into different rehabs and so forth, but it didn't work. They went right back to the same environment, and so they couldn't stay clean. So that's why your story of overcoming all of this, it just really touches my heart because I wanted it so bad for all of my brothers.
Yeah.
And the pain of attending three funerals for your siblings is it stays with you.
Oh yeah.
It
Oh
stays
yeah.
with you. And
Oh yeah.
that's why your story just really just grabbed me.
Well, you
it,
know what,
it
too,
grabbed
Cheryl.
my heart.
Let me just share this with you, and this is just from the empath part of me. Okay, God placed me in front of you to show you that yes, it could be done.
Mhm.
And though they couldn't get it, somebody else could get it that could share the message that you wished they were able to share.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm here. This meeting wasn't, by osmosis. This meeting wasn't, coincidental.
Yes.
God places people in your life at the time when you need them. And
Mm.
obviously there are some things that you still need to heal from. That's something that
Yes.
I shared that reminded you of your brother's plight
Yes.
is helping you to heal with. So, it's a beautiful cycle once
Yes.
we open up our lives. And that's what forgiveness is all about. We have to open up our lives to allow people to pour into us.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? It's important.
So beautiful. I was hoping that you would be okay with reading a short excerpt
Oh,
from the book
sure.
before we go.
Sure, sure, sure. I'll take one of the lighter
Thank you.
parts of it. Because
Thank you.
there's some deep paragraphs in there, but I'm gonna give you one of the lighter ones.
Okay. All right.
Whew. Once my mom left for work, my big brother's popularity was growing, and I got more daring in going out to explore my surroundings. I would stay out longer too. The village, nosy neighbors that is, was getting more concerned with the whole kids in the house unsupervised situation because we were latchkey kids. So, well, the cat was about to be out the bag for real. This particular night, I had stayed in the house. I just didn't feel like being bothered. And our lookouts, who were our friends, were supposed to take turns on mom watch. Somehow, both of them ended up at the house at the same time. And that, my friends, was a no no. Now, this night, my mother had some type of either somebody squealed on us or she had some type of premonition. And she turned around. The next thing we knew, my mom was banging on the door. Oh my God. She was yelling for us, open it now. Open it now. So I'm going to take it off the hinges. People started scattering like roaches. One went on, the lights went on, the cigarettes got put out. Somebody jumped out on the fire escape. The other one jumped to the window, jumped out the window onto the roof right next door of us, for the community center right next door to us. And me and my bestie went and jumped in my bed, and acted like we were asleep through the whole thing. My brother got his beat that night. That's part of our growing up as latchkey kids in the 70s.
Oh my goodness. I had to mute myself because I was making all these noises. I didn't want to take away from your reading. Oh my goodness.
Oh
Yeah.
my God. That
Yeah.
was one funny night.
Yeah.
Oh my, and my
Yeah,
brother was
that's
the
real
oldest,
life.
so
That's real
yeah,
life stuff.
that's real deep though. But my brother was the oldest, so he got in trouble. He got in
Yeah.
trouble. And
Yeah.
I'm like, Mom, what's going? I know I was up there with all the
My goodness gracious.
but
Well, I'm
it's
sure
definitely
people
some
want to
stuff
know
in there
how
that
to get in touch with you if you want to tell them.
sure. On Facebook, I'm Danielle Dubois Matthews. And I'm pretty sure it'll be up in the feed somewhere. On Instagram, I am at Author Dani .d3, and Danny is spelled Dani, short for Danielle. I am on Libris.com / Pretty Little Bastard Child. My website is www.authordanid, that's DANID.com. And I'm somewhere near. I'm on
She's somewhere.
Lulu.com.
She's around.
I'm around. If you put in Author Dani on TikTok, on now Lemonade,
Oh yeah.
you put in Author Dani, I'm going to pop up. And if it's not a
Yes.
picture of me or a picture of this book right here, it'll be a picture of my dog. My
Yes.
baby.
Yes. Thank you for showing us the cover. Guys, run out and get this book, Pretty Little Bastard Child by Author Dani. We'll have all of her contact information below this video in the description area. Thank you so much for your time today, Queen. It was
Thank
such
you,
a pleasure having you, and our
Thank you.
conversation was so good and enlightening. I'm sure that every day you are going to be touching people with this book, and soon, fingers crossed, we are praying that the TV series is coming soon as well.
Out this year.
Yes, thank you.
Thank
And
you.
we are out of time. So thank you again for tuning in to the Self-Publishing Corner podcast. And until next time, bye.
Be blessed. Have a great day. Thank you so much.